Good morning. My name is Natalie Fanny Gonzalez. This is the first economic development work session for the FY25 budget, so I'm very excited about it. Before we take off, I'm going to announce what we have, what sessions we have coming up. So today is the 8th, so we're going to be talking about the Revenue Authority. And on the 12th, Friday the 12th, April 12th, we're going to be discussing the Department of Permitting Services, WorkSource Montgomery, and also the Institute for Health Computing. Then on Wednesday, April 17, we're going to be focused on NCEDC, incubator programs, Economic Development Fund, and urban districts. Then on Thursday, April 25th, we're going to be discussing the Conference and Visitors Bureau, Business Centers Team, Small Business Support Services, the BioHub Maryland, and ABS. And then April 29, we're going to have a special session with, it's a joint committee session with GO on the special appropriation for the Jobs Initiative. That's the 29. And then on Thursday, May 2nd, we're going to be talking about TEPS and the Cable Television Communications Plan. So that's the schedule for the budget. And with that, I'm very excited to introduce, you want to start first? Or planning or staff, please take us off.
Good morning. Well, I believe this is the ECON Committee's first review of the full review of the CIP for the Revenue Authority. So just as
this year,
correct?
This year,
yes. First of many years to come. Just as a matter of housekeeping, the Revenue Authority CIP is treated a little differently than other CIP programs. The Council can amend the program. It typically does not do so, which I'll get into why. But that amendment cannot become final until there's a 30-day notice period for written comments to come back to the committee, to the Council from the Authority. And the reason the Council rarely amends the Revenue Authority CIP program is because the Revenue Authority's programs are self-funded through either bonds issued by the Authority that are repaid by user fees, or through federal and state grants, which are typically for the air park that's managed by the Authority. Just as a matter of overall summary of their CIP, the 6-year CIP is funded at $11.8 million, which is about $5.5 million less than the previously approved CIP. And the reason for that decrease is primarily the Crossvines pools. The Crossvines project has moved out of the CIP 6-year period, is functionally complete. That's driving the decrease in the 6-year period. And I'll stop there, see if there's any questions, or we can go into each project one by one, or turn it over to the department.
I think, Mr. Miller, would you like to say a few words before?
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Keith Miller, CEO of the Revenue Authority. No, thank you. Actually, the project and our CIP is really kind of into 3 groups. Really air park projects, as Naeem mentioned, as well as the golf course projects. There is a couple new projects, which I'm sure we'll get into here in just a minute. But as already covered, we're completely self-sustaining as far as the projects go. Thank you.
Beautiful, thank you. So can you walk us through the projects, please? Okay. And OMG, whenever you guys want to jump in, please do, okay?
Okay, turning to page 2 of the packet, section B, we have 2 new projects. The first is the Hampshire Greens Golf Course Improvements Project. It is requesting $100,000 in FY27 to fund the renovation of the parking lot to essentially limit deterioration until there's a longer-term maintenance is required. Again, no real issues on that one. Okay. The second new project is a little bit more larger. It's for the air park. It's constructing a new hangar on the north end. It is funding design in 25 of $325,000 and construction in 26 of $1.5 million. It is a new hangar, and it's a hangar that's been identified in the air park's master plan, essentially, from 2002. Again, it's fully funded through federal aid and Revenue Authority bonds, so no issues on that one. Okay, and just as awareness, there's a time limit to begin design by December of 2025 in order to keep the federal funds active, essentially. Turning to section C on page 3 of the packet, we'll go into existing projects with changes. The first one is the Falls Road Golf Course Improvements Project. There's an increase of $93,000 or 25%, primarily due to scope changes and changes in prioritization. This project will fund the renovation installation of cart paths for the golf course throughout the property, as well as replace an existing parking lot, which is part of the new scope of the project. Again, no real issues. Okay, number 2 on page 4 is the rehabilitation of the runway lighting. This project is essentially continuing lighting upgrades for the air park, and again, as defined in the airport layout plan of 2002. The cost increased by about $470,000, primarily changes required by the FAA, which is a key stakeholder in participating in the design and construction of these improvements and funding them as well. Beyond that, the change and the cost increase, no significant issues on that one. And most of the project is, again, funded by federal and state aid, about 94% of it. Number 3 is the road relocation project that was included in their CIP about 2 years ago, in the last full CIP. This, again, is being driven by the FAA and the requirements of having a safer runway. There is a current road with several businesses on it that could be potentially obstructive to aircraft coming in for landing. So this project is essentially funding the design and construction of relocating that road. There are some conditional projects as well that may involve land acquisitions. Get into more detail or turn to Mr. Miller, but essentially there's 2 other projects that may or may not be needed depending on what the final design of the road is. So
Before we continue, can you please address that, Mr. Miller?
Sure, thank you. So the road relocation and part of in this project here, one of our closeout projects is the purchase of a piece of property, what was the old Gold's Gym next to the air park. That property, as well as what's referred to as the Merchant's Tire property, which is on the corner of 124 on that same side, both of those parcels of land were deemed to be necessary for purchase by the FAA. Quite frankly, I've been working with the FAA for the last 20 years trying not to purchase these properties. That's our goal, is we don't want to purchase and relocate businesses. However, it was deemed necessary that this Gold's Gym property needed to be purchased. That has been completed. The road relocation project, what we have asked the FAA one more time is for us to work with our consultants to try and relocate the access road over there so that we can eliminate any issues with the FAA requirements by relocating the road and not having to purchase the property. So that's what this project is. This project is that study to see if we can finally make that happen and not have to purchase let's see here, it's coming up here in just a minute, what's referred to as the Merchant's Tire property, which is another project that's in the plan. It shows in the plan because it's in the FAA plan. If I can just stop there for just a second. The FAA and the way our projects work is we work with the FAA on a CIP process and projects that they have in the queue to be funded, right? So we're waiting on the federal funding. Once we get that project list with the FAA that we work with them on, we then immediately put them into our CIP that comes over here before the council. So that's why I know sometimes it's a little confusing, but that's why both projects are showing in our CIP, because it's showing on their CIP. The goal is if this road relocation works, we will eliminate the Merchant's Tires purchase.
Yes, Councilmember Evan Glass.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Miller, thank you. Can you just expand upon the FAA requirement for purchasing those? What was the rationale or justification? So
there is an access road that comes off of 124 that feeds those buildings. In essence, really what it comes down to is there's Part 77 services, which are clearance services from the runway that run off to the side and require heights. On that road, if a truck was on that road, it was a violation of those requirements. Therefore, the road needs to be lowered. However, the road needs to be lowered to a point that it would not provide access to Gold's Gym, and the Gold's Gym building was then really inaccessible. Okay, and so that's what determined that purchase was absolutely necessary.
Understood. Yeah. Okay. I appreciate that. There are a number of times in the packet on various projects where FAA requirements are the justification, and I think it's just particularly now as we have the Air Park Advisory Committee formed, ready to have its first meeting in a few weeks, I presume, once the individuals are officially confirmed, which I think they're going to be tomorrow on the consent calendar. Tomorrow or next week. But as we prepare for those public conversations and re-engagement at that level, having folks recognize that the Revenue Authority and the management of that parcel are in constant conversation with the FAA, and there are requirements and things put upon us for the management of that, and there are things we would like to do that we cannot do. Things that we all, and particularly the district council member, Councilmember Ludke, have asked or requested, but are infeasible for various reasons, mainly FAA requirements. And I just thought it important to note that at this point. So, thank you.
Excellent points. Thank you for bringing that up. Do you have something else to add here at this point? No?
And yes, that road relocation project, the cost has decreased, again, due to changes in the design, but we're still waiting to get final design approval from the FAA. Beyond those issues, no other issues on that one. Number 4 is the Needwood Golf Course. This is funding the replacement of an irrigation system for that golf course. The last replacement was done, I think, in the mid-2000s, and the system was more recently renovated in 2020, but again, it's approaching the end of its useful life, needs a full replacement. The cost has increased due to inflation, as well as delays in the design process. It's went up from 1.6 million to 2.2 million, but beyond that, no issues. Next one is the Poolsville Golf Course. It's requesting a $50,000 increase to replace the existing driving range netting, which again captures the golf balls from the driving range. Previously, there were upgrades to the cart paths and play areas. Those were completed in FY23. Beyond that, no significant issues. Number 6 is the Rattlewood Golf Course. Again, this is another golf cart path renovation project. The funding was accelerated by 1 year from FY26 completion to FY25, again due to greater than anticipated path deterioration, so it's become a little bit more urgent. No issues on that one. On Section D, project with no change, this again is the Merchant Tire property. It's essentially placeholder funding in FY29 in the event that the FAA does require land acquisition. So it's hanging out there in FY29 this time. And then we have several projects in pending closeout status. I mentioned the Poolsville, the Crossfires project. We also have the Leet Mellbrook property. That's the other land acquisition parcel for the air park. That's the funding has been approved, and depending on what the design of the road is, it may or may not be acquired. The Revenue Authority has relocated their offices from to Rattlewood Golf Course from the EOB. That's been completed. The Northwest Golf Course has completed their upgrades to their irrigation system. And yes, as I mentioned, the Crossfires project has been completed and is open for business. So that's about it.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Sens.
Thank you so much about the, I'm glad that we finished with the Crossvines project. I was so delighted to join the ribbon cutting for that event with Councilmember Balcombe. Now, I did have a question about the Crossvines project. Do you have any information about the immediate success that we've seen since the facility has opened? I don't know if you have any numbers about any revenue projections since its opening that we could highlight today.
I didn't have any with me today. I will just highlight, make a couple statements here. So as we know, as we started the operations there, the restaurant's first year, we started July 8th was the official opening of the project. As it has gone through its first year, it's been very successful. If I could just announced to everybody that we were named a top 10 new restaurant by USA Today for 2024. So we accomplished that. We came in 9th place in the country as new restaurants. We also were just awarded in the Golf Inc. magazine, which represents the best new facilities, clubhouse facilities. They call it their Golden Fork Award. We won that first prize for a public facility in the design and construction of our facility out there. That's actually an international award. There was over 1,100 applications to that. So some things that we're very proud of. The operation itself has been going very smoothly. The biggest thing about this, about the operation out there, is really the events, which is generally weddings and things of that nature have a longer lead time. I'm happy to announce we had our first wedding in February. That went off very successfully, and now as we continue to go through this season, those events start ramping up. But I don't have any specific numbers
Okay.
to reference at this point, but those are some of the highlights.
Nice. Those are excellent highlights to share, especially during our committee's deliberations. I had another question about the Air Park Advisory Committee. We know it's going to be approved shortly. Can you please share more about how you plan to work with the Air Park Advisory Committee to improve operations at the airport?
Sure. I think the committee itself is really kind of welcome back. In the years past, we had the Air Park Liaison Committee, which the council had done. The Air Park Advisory Community Advisory Group, I believe it is, that is being formed, and I guess being confirmed tomorrow is. Councilmember
so.
Glass is just
Or
stated, right?
soon.
A week from Tuesday.
A week
so
from
next
Tuesday,
week.
okay.
Next week.
So our airport manager, Justin Bolam, who is actually sitting behind me here, Justin will be an ex officio board, member of that committee. We will utilize that committee to really kind of educate and talk about the operations. As Councilmember Glass said, what can and can't be done. There's a lot of requirements around that, but I think, and what we're looking forward to, is having that committee as a voice for the community that we can communicate with and really educate and try and, again, look at all different solutions and look at, again, all the requirements as well as potential solutions. So we plan to be very involved and active with that committee.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And then I had just one last question. I know that we see a lot of the golf projects are in the CIP, and just wanted to know if you have any numbers on the demand for golf courses throughout the county and any major takeaways we should monitor. You know, this committee a few weeks ago spent a great deal of time discussing agritourism and the sports tourism industry, and so wanted to see if there's any opportunities on the horizon that we should know about or be prepared to take advantage of.
So a couple of really good points there. So the golf has enjoyed this boom, as we know, post-COVID. It's really, and our system has shown it. Pre-COVID, we were doing about 350,000 rounds a year. On the golf course system. Again, it consists of 9 golf courses. We are now, last year we did close to 470,000 rounds.
Wow.
So that just gives you an idea of the demand that is there, and people are taking advantage of the great golf course system that is here in Montgomery County, and that we own and operate. In addition to that, to your point of tourism, you know, there's a lot of great events that are being hosted regionally. This year, this fall, right down, I know it's in Virginia, but Robert Trent Jones Golf Course is hosting the Solheim Cup for the women's PGA.
Nice.
Tour, and so that is, that's going to bring some demand even into our region. But in addition to that, Woodmont Country Club is hosting events coming up. Baltimore Country Club, Chevy Chase is hosting events. Congressional has a series of events. So there's going to be a lot of great exposure on Montgomery County and what we have to offer as resources. It's going to be a lot of tourism coming in. So we're at a special spot with golf right now, and especially in Montgomery County, as a country as a whole, but right here in Montgomery County, we're going to have the spotlight on us, which is really going to be exciting.
Oh, good. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how we take advantage of all of that tourism to highlight other amenities in the county as well. So
Correct.
we should think about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I turn to Councilmember Balkan, what's the update on the hotel at the Crossvines?
Oh, we'd love to, you know, one of the challenges to the operations out there is the location. And, you know, we'd love to entertain the idea of doing some type of small inn at the property. We think that would be, you know, very successful and very helpful for the operation. So something that is starting to have conversations.
Thank you for that. Councilmember Balkan.
Thank you. I'm very curious and interested in that, so please keep us in the loop on that.
Yes.
Thank you. Just a brief question about the air park and the road relocation. The timing of when that decision's going to be made, because I know we have the road location, then we have the acquisition of the property. So when do you expect that happen?
So it's really a matter of the federal funding, right? So at this point, and again, pardon me, but I always mix these things up because, again, we're on a county fiscal year, but then I've got to transfer to federal fiscal year when I'm talking about their funding, so it kind of overlaps. The goal right now is that the funding that's set up for this year that we hope comes through with this federal budget is the refunding of the purchase of the Gold's Gym. So that's federal fiscal year, what are we in, 24 now, so it would be federal fiscal year 24. So federal fiscal year 25, which would be the end of August of next year, we're hoping to get the grant for the road relocation study, which would then put us into process in 25. So by 26 is when I hope to have that answer. I would say that would be kind of my quick calculation
Okay,
on it.
great, thank you.
Okay?
Councilmember Glatt.
One more thing regarding Crossvines. Personal pitch here.
Sure.
I enjoy going to Crossvines, and a number of us were there for the chamber event back in February when it was the prep for that wedding. So I'm glad to hear that the wedding went well, and it is a beautiful venue. But with regard to the bistro, the restaurant, the public restaurant, I would politely ask that there be at least one vegetarian/vegan option either in the sandwiches or the mains. So
The new menu, the spring menu, is just being released this week, so I think you're going to be happy with those changes.
look forward to returning. Thanks.
Councilmember Sells.
Thank you. We talked about a lot of these capital projects, the golf park and the air park, and wanted to know if you are aware of which schools offer golf courses in their curriculum. Because I think it's just the Poolsville, or I could be wrong.
Well, all the high schools at this point have a golf team.
Okay.
We've been working with them. We donate all of the high schools' tee times and use of our facilities. So we have a very strong partnership with Montgomery County Public Schools.
Nice.
I'm happy to report that, yes, the teams have been growing. So it's kind of an interesting challenge for us because we have such demand for the golf courses, and the teams are
Expanding.
kind of really expanding. But we continue to work with MCPS to make sure they're getting what they need. But the last record I have is that all the schools do have a team,
Nice.
and they're at the largest participation levels they've seen.
Oh, good. I'll have to find out what their competition schedule is if they have one. I don't know about the aeronautics programs that we have. I think it's only one in the county, but could you tell me about any schools that are using the air park?
So Magruder is the biggest program that we have right now is through MCPS, and again, that's the aeronautics program that you mentioned. I know there was conversation, I think a couple of years ago about that expanding, but I haven't heard of anything expanding in regards to that. Justin usually works with MCPS and Magruder High School to have them over to the air park once a year for a visit and kind of a good, it's a program day where they come over and spend a day. They visit a lot of different operations and learn about what they're learning in the classroom. Here it is really happening, and it's been very successful. And the program, I understand, has been very successful. So I would love to see MCPS expand it if possible. That'd be
Yes,
great.
I would love to hear about that with maybe we can talk with the chair about that. And then will the Revenue Authority come back before us for the operating budget as well?
We do not. Our
Okay.
operating budget, since we're completely self-sustaining, our operating budget is not part of the county's process.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And with that, I look forward, let's have a motion on the FY 25-30 recommended capital improvement programs for Montgomery County Revenue Authority. Those in favor, please raise your hand. Any passes. Thank you so much for all the work that you're doing. The Revenue Authority is a fabulous place thanks to your leadership, and we look forward to getting to know your new board coming up that is going to be approved by us in a week from tomorrow. So thank you.
And just to add, next week from tomorrow is also when the full council will review the committee's recommendation. So
Yes.
It'll be a Revenue Authority day.
Thank you so much. Oh, no kidding. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.